seems like an oxymoron, but let's ask Club for Growth President David McIntosh. David, where are you on this and what you're hearing about this?
Yeah, first, the inclusion of the Lee-Cruz amendment on opting out and consumer choice, that's a big step in the right direction. We are all for that, and we've been advocating for it. Disappointing is, as you point out, all of these wasteful spending increases and therefore keeping the Obamacare tax increases, which hurt job creation. It's a projection that over hundreds of thousand jobs will be lost because of the Senate keeping that in there. So we're going to continue to urge them, get rid of the taxes. You promised to do that.
What if they
but
don't,
the bill is
David,
getting
what
better.
if they don't get rid of those taxes?
You know, in the end, we're going to have to look at all the different parts of it and see. There are a lot of very good things in there. The changes to Medicaid, this Cruz-Lee amendment, and getting rid of the mandates. If they can bring themselves to do what Republicans should do and cut taxes, then we'd be all for this bill.
All right. Now, there are a lot of people who say you got to, give up something to get something. And one of the things that Mark Meadows of the Freedom Caucus, a largely conservative group of Republicans, had said, and that shocked me when we had him on, that, Neil, I'd be open to these, not repealing these taxes in Obamacare if it was a means to getting to the next step. In other words, get this done, move on to tax reform. How do you feel about that?
You know, Mark has got a really good point there. And what it shows is the conservatives are the ones trying to get the repeal through. We're having to deal with the moderates who've decided they like parts of Obamacare, even when they promised their voters they would repeal it. The more we point out you're the guys holding it up, the more they're forced to keep their promise and vote for a repeal bill.
You know, David, I mentioned this to Stuart, and he touched on it in his show. It's not the end-all and be-all when they do decide on something. Let's say they do approve it, and a lot of conservatives are chafing, maybe some moderates are chafing. They can revisit it. With Obamacare itself, legislators did at least a dozen times to tweak things. So
and Obama himself changed it later,
right,
so President Trump can make changes in the regulations. Yeah, failure is not an option here. We've got to get the repeal through, and then it won't be perfect, and we can make it better in the years to come.
All right, we shall see what happens. David, always good seeing you. Thank you.
Great.
Meanwhile, Speaker Paul